Okay, Rick, would you like to go ahead and get us started?
I will. Thank you, Pete. Thank you all for joining. Welcome to our AI knowledge management case study. We want you to think of this like a fireside chat where we'll be talking to a couple of industry leaders from both the CU leadership point of view as well as the technology point of view. We'll discuss the problems that credit unions are facing today and how those problems have been addressed and solved using AI. My name is Rick Cranston. I'll be your host today. I've been in the credit union and financial services space for, well over 2 decades now. I've co-founded several successful fintech companies, and I've worked extensively pioneering new technologies to bring to the credit union industry. Next, let me toss the ball over to Tyler Valentine. Tyler is the CEO of StagePoint Credit Union. It's a $118 million credit union headquartered in Laramie. Tyler's worked in credit unions since he was 18 and has been the CEO of StagePoint since 2008. Tyler views technology as a powerful enabler that enhances both the efficiency of employees, but member experience as well, allowing credit unions to better serve their communities with innovation and streamlined solutions. You can find Tyler on several podcasts now, including CU Broadcast, America's Credit Unions, Len Key, and the Strategic Podcasts.
Thanks, Rick.
Let's, yeah. Let me introduce Pete. Pete is the founder and CEO of CurrentWave. Pete been in technology leadership positions for the last 20 years. He's been the CTO for a software startup that grew from 2 employees to 165. He was also the CTO for a very large software as a service company where he oversaw more than 350 engineers and developers. He started CurrentWave AI in 2023 because he saw the opportunity to build practical AI solutions that benefit credit unions and beyond. So let's start with Tyler. Tyler, is the CEO of a credit union, what are some of the daily challenges that you face?
Well, as my small credit union leader friends out there know, there's a laundry list, we'll say. But I think the things that I keep working on as we are growing is kind of that flat organizational structure, right? So there's not a lot of depth between the CEO to our front line, and so that flat organizational structure just leads to balancing for me and my executives, balancing day-to-day activities, having employees that need help, have questions about how to do their jobs with the strategy. And so the balancing those interruptions and making sure that we're helping our staff to help our members, but also focusing on the big picture in the long term. Um, and then, having departments of one or departments of one or two, those people have tons of institutional knowledge. So if they're gone or sick or decide to move on from the credit union, or hopefully at some point just retire from the credit union, we lose that institutional knowledge or we could possibly lose that institutional knowledge. And so, those are the things where, we want to have knowledge systems in place that it's not human based, it's more systems based, just so that we it doesn't put the organization at risk when it's a department of one.
Thanks, Tyler. I that is a universal problem in the industry today. I know the C leaders on the line with us can identify with those. From my experience, it is with credit. What you just described is in credit unions of all sizes, but especially as you mentioned, the smaller CUs. So Pete, why did you start Current Wave? What were the problems that you wanted to solve with AI?
Well, if you guys have been paying attention, the AI hype train is at like full speed. If you listen to the media, you'll think everybody's using AI, or no one's using AI, or AI is going as a AI professional, and if I dare say expert. None of those things are true, right? The truth is AI is a really cool but limited new
technology tool in our toolbox. Not too much different than the blockchain or the cloud, or pick any of the other technologies that have come over the last couple of years or decades. It's just another tool. And there's so much noise around AI right now. You have to be a little careful that you don't just throw the baby out with the bathwater. And so when I created CurrentWave, we realized there were some real problems to solve with AI that weren't necessarily super sexy, but were real. And where we kind of landed, and the reason we started CurrentWave AI was around this knowledge management problem that Tyler was just talking about. Knowledge management is a ubiquitous, crazy common problem for not only credit unions, but for almost every organization under the sun, right? If you have more than 2 or 3 employees, you're stuck with having to write down for your employees how to do stuff, right? How to do a process, how to know about a policy, how to perform a procedure. We would love our people to be able to memorize every single process and procedure and pull it out, off the top of their head. I want everybody listening to this to ask themselves, do your people know every single process, procedure, and policy off the top of their head? I would challenge you that they don't, right? Especially with credit unions. You guys, I'm not a credit union expert like Rick and Tyler. I'm kind of new to credit unions. I was amazed to find out there were hundreds or sometimes literally thousands of procedures. There's so many products, there's so many regulations, there's so many things you have to know. There's just no way a human being is going to keep all that in their head well. So what we realized is we could use AI to streamline this very common problem of, I'm an employee, I need to do a thing. I got to find out where to find that thing, the how to. And the real problem is, even if someone's done a good job documenting all their policies and processes and procedures, having their employees be able to find it quickly, and by quickly, I mean while there's a member waiting for an answer on the phone or standing in front of you in the branch, is really challenging. And this is where AI can knock it out of the park, because we can just make it simple. So that was my not so short version of why I founded CurrentWave AI.
Thanks, Pete. Tyler, back to you. Let me ask you a tougher question. Tell us a little more about the experience of implementing CurrentWave's AI solution. In particular, I'm really curious about how you and the team felt about bringing AI to your small credit union. Kind of scary, kind of nervous. It's AI. Uh, uh, Tell us a little more about the results that you've seen so far.
Sure. Well, I think from an implementation perspective, we might get into this later, so we'll have to skip it. But from an implementation perspective, it was super easy, right? So once we're signed up, we're basically uploading policies, procedures, all of our internal documents into the AI. It can ingest those within a relatively short period of time, and then it's ready for use. I think the use case for us was multifaceted. It talked about those departments of one or two. But also we just executed a merger, right? So legal merger was on the 1st of October. Our operational merger isn't until June 1st. And so I'm going to have this entire new team of people coming onto our system, coming into new systems to them. And now instead of them having to know, where do I go find a policy or a procedure, they can simply go ask their question of the AI. I also, one of the things that I was really concerned about was, would it make anything up? If it can't answer the question, because we've seen that in other iterations of AI, if it doesn't know the answer, it will make something up. Where this, when we demoed CurrentWave, it's closed, right? So it can only read information that you're putting into it. And so when you're asking it the question, it is going to give you back an answer based on the information that you put into it. And so there is a challenge for the organization in making sure that the information you're giving it is the new and accurate and up-to-date information. But it's not going to make something up for my employees. It's not going to write a bio for Tyler Valentine just because it thinks it can, like ChatGPT might be able to do. And so, that was a lot of what we thought. I don't think that there was trepidation from my team in it because of that closed nature of the AI and the tool. I think for us, we're always looking at ways, how can we leverage technology to make us more efficient, make the member experience better. This is a way that empowers our employees with the information at their fingertips, so they don't have to have a member walk up, ask a question that they don't know the answer to and go, they can find it. Yeah, let me figure that out for you just a second, and they can go type it into the AI tool and hopefully get the answer within 2 or 3 seconds. If they can't, then there's a system in place for us to be able to then back document. They can create a flag that tells us, hey, I ask it this question, it can't answer it, we need to know this. So then we can backfill those documents and ensure that the knowledge that we have in there is the knowledge that our team needs to serve our members and that they're looking for.
That's such a good point, Tyler. But I mean, you made a couple really good points. Let me kind of riff on a couple of those. The first one was the closed system. I have folks come to me all the time and say, well, yeah, knowledge management, I can just use ChatGPT. Why is that bad? And there's a couple really big reasons why ChatGPT is bad. The first is it's not closed, meaning ChatGPT is answering stuff based on the world of knowledge. So if I'm an employee of Tyler's at StagePoint and I need to know the process to, let's say, execute a stop payment, it does me no good for ChatGPT to tell me how other financial institutions do stop payments. Tyler's only interested in how StagePoint does stop payments. So an important consideration when we built CurrentWave was that we created it in a closed system. So the AI is literally forbidden to answer any question where the data it's going to use is not StagePoint's actual documents. So even if StagePoint were to, let's say, not have a process on stop payments, the AI is going to say, I don't know. So what that does is that prevents, in the tech lingo, we call it hallucination with the AI, where ChatGPT, as Tyler said, it'll just make stuff up. It really wants to please you, whether it's accurate or not. So these closed systems like CurrentWave force the AI models to only answer within specifically the StagePoint or whoever's documentation. So it's clean and it's prepared. Now, I can already hear the next question everybody has is, oh, well, that's great, Pete, but how long is it going to take me to prep all my documents for the AI? That sounds like a miserable job. And you're right. It's a miserable job that you will never do. This is one of the other magics of AI, or at least our AI product, is there is no prep work. We literally want you to dump your documentation, warts and all, directly into the AI. And we, through the use of the AI, will kind of automatically and organically help the organization clean stuff up, because the AI is going to point out where the gaps are. The AI is going to point out where there's conflicts or duplication. If you tried to have a human do that as a project, first, you'll never do it because that project will always be 2 months from now, right? Forever. And the other is it's kind of a miserable job. But what we found with our customers, and I'd love for Tyler to give his 2 cents, is the way to start is literally to start. Like, start today and start dumping this information into an AI tool like ours, and you get instant value because now your employees are getting all this answers that they weren't getting before, or if they were, it took them a really long time to get. But also, a side effect is the organization's actual knowledge base. All these documents that they've spent so much time putting together get cleaner and faster and tighter and more accurate. So what say you, Tyler?
Yeah, I would 100% agree. I think for us, what we've seen is things that we didn't think about that our staff was probably asking a supervisor for, that they begin asking the AI tool for. So we call it the point, stage point. It's the point the way to the right answer, right? So in the point, they can go out and ask it these questions that maybe they were not asking a supervisor for before. So really quick things, but it was an interruption to the supervisor over and over to answer what's probably a repetitive question to them, but that every one of their team members may have had because the member had it. but things that we weren't thinking about, like what is our routing number for those new staff members coming in? And, do we have it documented somewhere that's easy for them to find? Yeah, it's probably taped to a counter somewhere, I'm sure, by the phone, but making sure that we probably didn't have a document that said it, but it also links to stagepoint.com. And so the routing number's out there. So there's iterations as well within CurrentWave. So we can put, the documents for everybody into one of them. We can do stagepoint.com. And so it can search product knowledge off of stagepoint.com. So we didn't have to create documents for all of our products if we didn't have them out there. They're out on our website, obviously, because that's what we're telling people about. And so it was a really easy and clean way, especially for new employees coming in, product knowledge. They can go, what are your features of ultimate checking? And it's going to pull it up from the AI tool instead of sitting down and going through rack cards individually, right? And trying to do root memorization. That just in this day and age, my TikTok brain can't ingest and hold that data either, right? My attention span is gone. I need a 30-second video to tell me what it is. And so through the employee then is able to take it as they need it, take it in smaller bites, take it based on member requests. And, our feedback is that they feel so much empowered and more confident in their job because literally the information is at their fingertips.
Awesome, Tyler. Thanks, Pete. Pete, I think we've gotten to the point where I think we should prove it. Let's do a little demo of CurrentWave.
No, I'd love to. Hang on. Let me share my screen, which in Zoom is always a challenge for me. Let's see how I do. And if you guys can give me a thumbs up when you can see everything, we'll go from there. Okay. So what you guys are seeing is our CurrentWave AI hosted web portal. So this is what Tyler has at StagePoint. His, of course, says StagePoint instead of Sample Company. But the idea is I'm going to show you what it looks like for an average credit union employee to use this tool. What is the benefit? So if you look up here on the left, you'll see there's multiple, we call them AIs, but really they're repositories of your documents. So usually a credit union will have kind of the big repository, what everybody has access to. And what that allows folks to do is put all of the main policies and procedures that you want all of your staff to have access to. But we can also have private knowledge bases. Like, for example, here's one for HR or one for IT. So in the HR example, we want our HR folks to be able to have access and use the AI for their HR docs, but those HR docs might be private and we don't want the rest of the staff to have access because there might be, proprietary or just sensitive information that you want to keep segregated. So we do that right out of the box. But let me start with just asking a question that a real person might ask. Let's say I ask, what are the regulations about spousal signatures for retirement accounts? I picked a really weird question on purpose because the point is we want to see not just easy answers, but complicated answers to complicated questions. This is the power of AI. So what is happening behind the scenes, and faster than I can even describe it, is the AI went through the hundreds or thousands of documents. Our average credit union uploads between 800 and 1,200 documents. I know that surprised me. That's a lot. So that's every training manual, FAQ, product document, how to, all of it. All of it gets dumped into the AI. And when we ask this question, what are the regulations about spousal signatures? The AI literally read at computer speed every single one of those documents, pulled out the relevant passages, and then use those relevant passages to answer the question. So as we talked about before, this is a closed system. The AI can only answer based on what it found. And we show our work. So at the bottom here, you'll see a citations link. So this tells us you don't have to just take my word for it that the AI used your documentation. It's literally shown. And so if I click this link, in this case, the document is the NCUA Fair Lending Guide. Notice that we just click it and it opens up right next to the answer. So your users can not only get the straight ahead 10-second answer, but they can also see the backup of where that came from. Notice this is a 55-page document. The AI not only was able to open it, but opened it directly to page 17 and highlighted this first section, letting us know that not only is it in this document, but it's on page 17 under spousal signatures. So think about how much easier this makes your folks' jobs to get these answers. And the cool thing is, it doesn't matter if the user would have found this document in your intranet or on your network drive or in your SharePoint or on your public website. They don't have to worry about that at all. They just ask the question, get the answer. So they no longer have to go hunt and fish for where this document is. They don't have to spend the time reading 55 pages to find the right section from this document, even if they found it. They just ask a question and get an answer. So I'm going to do a couple rapid fire questions here just to give you some more idea of how people use this in real life. I might ask a really simple question like, how much does a wire transfer cost? Behind the scenes, the same thing's happening. The AI is going through all of your documentation. In this case, 20 bucks is the answer. That's really easy. What if we ask something a little more complex? I'm going to ask, what is an NSF fee? Well, that's complex because what am I asking really? Am I asking what does the NSF acronym mean? Non-sufficient funds? Or am I asking what does NSF mean and what is the fee? Turns out the AI is really good at answering this. That's just not complicated for the AI to understand what I'm getting at as a human and answering it. I can ask a policy question. So how can a member surrender a CD with no penalty? That's a little more interpretive. The AI has to kind of think about it a little bit, not only find the underlying documentation, but make an interpretation of that answer. And here we go, really easy. Maybe the most common type of question are procedural ones. How do I do X or Y or Z? And in this case, same thing. The AI is going to go find those documents and just going to explain to the user exactly what to do. Step one through, in this case, quite a few steps. But we can even have more fun. Let me ask a question that would be pretty common. What are the valid forms of identification to open an account? But let's say the member sitting in front of me at the branch or I'm talking to doesn't speak English as their first language. I can ask the AI, hey, create the answer for my member, but in Mandarin. Super easy. I could also have done that in German or French or Spanish or Japanese. It doesn't matter. The cool thing is I didn't have to have my documentation in Mandarin or in Spanish or in French for this to work. It just goes directly and translates on the fly. Super fun. So this is what the people do and how they use it day to day. But we didn't stop there. We wanted to make sure that the management teams, Tyler and his executives also had tools to manage all of the data that this creates. So if I go to search Q&A, this is essentially the audit trail of every question and answer that your organization's team asked in a particular period. Right now, I'm doing today. Now, if I'm Tyler, I want to read every question and answer every day and find out what's happening. One, it's a proxy for what my members are asking, but two, it tells me how my employees are doing. But Tyler's a busy guy. He's not going to have that time. So we have the AI do it. So what I'm showing you now is the AI's analysis and summarization of the top 5 trends of the questions for that day, week, month, quarter. A user analysis showing which users are asking which questions to see if there's anybody that needs a little extra training. But maybe the coolest thing is the unanswerable questions. Where are the gaps in your documentation where people are asking questions and not getting an answer? So in this case, debit card increase request is the number one thing. So this was where Tyler and his team could say, hey, we have a gap here. Our people are needing this information. Normally we'd be blind to this. This would be something we wouldn't even know to correct, but now we can. So all of this is at your fingertips. This is the turbo version. I'll go ahead and stop the share now, but just want you to see how easy it is to use and that we have virtually no training load for our people. We can usually in 15 to 30 minutes show someone how to use it. They're off and running.
Thanks, Pete. That's awesome. Tyler, I've got one more question for you. We only got just a few minutes left, but I want you to talk a little bit about implementation. By the way, for those that can stay after, we'll hang around for a while, and I'll throw some more questions out to the both Pete and Tyler for some more discussion. If you'd like to hang around, we'll be here. Tyler, talk a little more about implementation. Most execs think about implementation with a little bit of fear and nervousness. It always means, oh gosh, I'm going to have to do an integration. The tech lift is going to be heavy. How did it go for you guys?
Yeah, there's not a heavy tech lift. So you sign the contract, get the CurrentWave sets up the site for you, kind of ask the questionnaire. So you fill out how you want, your site configured, you saw those different, the HR one or the full knowledge base or stagepoint.com, those type of things. Fill that out so that you have that kind of baseline of how you want to organize the data. And then you log in and start uploading, right? And then you start testing, start showing yourself and then your team how, you can ask the questions. So I think that that's one of the things that we're still learning is we've been Google trained to do keyword searches, and this is AI. So you have to ask it the question. You can't do stop payment. You have to say, how do I put on a stop payment or put a stop payment on a check, right? And those are the things that we're still training on. And then the flags. We don't know what we don't know. Pete talked about the reports that we're getting and things like that. But it's also really helpful for our team if they come across something that it's not the AI can't answer, that they create the flag so that we know there's a gap in the knowledge base. We get the weekly report. And that's how we have it configured is for I get it on Monday morning, so I can kind of see what happened in the week before, see what we need to do to make sure our team has the information they need for the week ahead type of thing. But it's most helpful that in the moment the team member flags the question, hey, we don't have this information, because then my team, my technology team, which is a department of one with Tyler as the backup, is getting those flags, right? So then we can take those and as we're working on it, constantly be working on it so that it's not end of the week, you have a document dump. Now we got to, do 5, 10, 15 things on Monday morning. You can stage it out and know what you need to do. Again, just to enhance the quality of the information inside the tool.
And let me just jump on one of the things Tyler was talking about. He mentioned flags. So that's our CurrentWave internal kind of lingo for the fact that the AI isn't perfect on day one. So if you're to use ChatGPT or Microsoft Copilot and it doesn't give a good answer, too bad, right? You don't get to call Microsoft and say, hey, Copilot didn't do it right. With CurrentWave, that's exactly what you can do. So what Tyler is describing is right in the app, we have a way for Tyler or Tyler's team to say, hey, the AI wasn't perfect on this answer. They let us know, and we can retrain the AI every day to get a little smarter and a little smarter and a little smarter. For some of our customers that have been with us a little while, over months and years, we could have over 1,000 small tweaks to the AI model exactly customized to your organization, like Tyler and StagePoint. So what Tyler ends up getting is a super customized AI model that's just like an employee that you hand trained and took under your wing to teach all the tribal knowledge about your organization. We can do that with the AI too. And that's something you just don't get from any of the commercial AI models.
Awesome, Pete. Well, thank you all. It's we're at time, but as I mentioned, I've got more questions for these two. As long as you're still on the line, I'm going to keep asking questions. So I've got another question for Tyler. Tyler, this one isn't even on any list that we earlier discussed, but you mentioned strategic planning and how fun that is for everybody every year. That's tongue in cheek. How you think AI plays a role in helping with strategic planning going forward?
I think it absolutely will. I think to be able to analyze your information, your organization's information, to a level that you can again ask it iterative questions. So, we subscribe to an industry analytics tool. So I can go out and I can either create reports based on call report data or and compare it to peer data and stuff like that. But I have to know how to use that software. I have to know how to go out and find it and manipulate it in order to get the response I want. Where with AI, asking it an iterative question, I mean, I could literally we could be sitting and planning, my board goes, well, what is the average age of our member? Well, let me pull it up and I'll get you that answer in real time right now, right? That's the future for me of AI, is having really in-depth iterative, like where you can literally just ask a question of your data processing systems, of your call report data, of all of your data, and it can spit it back in virtually real time. And you're not having to learn a new software. You're not having to build implementations. You're not having to go through, as you described, from a integration perspective, any of those types of things. It's there. It's just exists, and you can ask it again those questions, and then you can have it build. You did this, now do it. Now take that data, but manipulate it this way. And CurrentWave can do that too. You ask it one question and then it turns into a thread so that you can drill down farther if needed. And so it, again, is just the power of information, so much easier and faster than what we've been able to do up until now.
And let me give Tyler a
That's
compliment here if I can. Uh, Tyler is saying these things as if it's just natural to use AI, which is the right tool for the job that he's describing. I saw a study, I think it was either JP Morgan or Goldman Sachs had done a industry-wide, and I mean not just credit union industry, I mean industry-wide, of corporations, over 50 people, and how many have actually implemented AI. Like really, not just use ChatGPT for an executive, right? And it was 6%. Tiny. And it's important to listen to a guy like Tyler, who's not waiting for the rest of the world to say it's okay before realizing he can take the tiger by its tail and start getting value right now. I think a lot of leaders are not afraid because they're not brave, but they're afraid because AI still has kind of a weird stigma. And there's stuff out in the media that you hear about. It's going to take over my life, or it's going to take over my credit union. And of course, that's not true, right? It is just another software tool, but a software tool that if you use well is really powerful. So, one of the questions I get asked all the time is, how do I start with AI? And the answer is to start with AI, right? And, Tyler's done a really smart thing here. He's picked an AI tool that is super safe, right? Like in this knowledge management arena, we're talking about helping his team unlock data and documents that he already had, right? So we're not asking AI to do anything edgy or anything that might be considered, a little dangerous or, cause reputational risk or even dollar risk. That doesn't exist here. So this is a really great way for organizations to dip their toe in the AI waters in a way that's not going to freak out a customer or a member and not going to freak out a board, right? Because this is a way that now your team can start getting used to these ways of interacting with software, which, like it or not, it's here. And like it or not, it's coming, right? So if you have an organization like Tyler that's already going to be savvy and experienced with using an AI tool, but starting in a way that feels really comfortable, you're way ahead. So Tyler, pat on the back, man.
Thank you. I appreciate that. I will say to my credit union friends listening, I think it's important too that you have an AI use policy that's really defined for your team, how it's acceptable to use AI, regardless of whether it's CurrentWave or another AI tool, but also recognizing that those ones that we've discussed earlier, those public AI, anything you're putting into it becomes public. So you can never put proprietary information, you can never put member information. Anything you're putting into those public tools becomes public. that's the opposite with CurrentWave. Everything that we're putting into it is private, right? And it's specific to StagePoint. So having that distinction for the regulator, they're going to come in, they're going to see that you're using an AI tool, that you did a due diligence review of CurrentWave AI, and they're going to go, hey, what are you doing? What's an AI? Do you have use policies? Do you know what you're doing? So that is another step to take before jumping in, is that you need an acceptable use policy for AI, just to define it for your team, for yourself, and make sure that you're demonstrating to the regulator that you're using it in a safe and sound way.
Hey guys, we're starting to lose folks now. So I want to throw one last question at you, Tyler, though. If you had to stomp your feet and wave your hands around one final point for credit leaders, what would you like to emphasize?
I guess mine is really around that employee and member experience, right? The employee experience, the empowerment that they feel, the confidence that they have because they have immediate access to the information. So it gives them much more confidence in serving the members, which leads to a better member experience. The member sees that they're more confident. It also changes it from oh, let me go check on something, and then you could lose credibility. Do they really know? Did they get the right answer? Where if you're standing there, yeah, I can, let me check on how I can do that for you, and can immediately put that question out, get that answer. It just gives them more confidence. It gives the member more confidence than what the team member is doing is the correct thing and the accurate thing to do. And it gives my team more time to build relationship with the member. They're not running off to an office somewhere asking a supervisor a question. They're standing in front of the member, asking important questions of the member to get more in-depth knowledge about the member, so that we know how we can best serve them, best ways to save them time and money.
And that's
That's
awesome. Let me
awesome.
give some hard numbers to just back up what Tyler has. So we've now had enough customers um, implement our tool that we've got some stats, like the average time. Remember, we talked about someone either knows something off the top of their head or they have to go fish. The stats are, if someone has to go fish, for most organizations, the time it takes them average is 10 minutes, right? That's staggering when you think about it. That's 10 minutes that member's on hold or waiting, tapping their foot, like unhappy. The AI kind of post number is 10 seconds. That's a huge difference. So not only is the member experience way better, but the employee experience is way better. No employee wants to get, basically their teeth kicked in by a member mad at them because they've been on hold, right? They don't want that either. They like looking on top of things and smart and being of good service. And, Tyler kind of touched on it. What really happens during that 10 minutes? It's not usually that people take 10 minutes and finally find the answer. It's they take 6 or 7 minutes and then say, I'll be right back. Tap, tap, tap. Hi, Tyler. Sorry to interrupt you again, but can you help me do X? So not only does the member have a bad experience, but Tyler or Tyler's managers are now interrupted from doing their strategic things. So it's like one of those kind of hidden benefits. It's not only the 10 minutes to 10 seconds, which is obviously a win, but it's the ability to let your employees self-serve and free up your managers and supervisors to get their jobs done. So it's multi-layered.
Absolutely.
Great. I can't think of too many other things. We're pushing 45 minutes into this thing. So thanks, Pete. Thanks, Tyler. And thank you all for joining us today.
Appreciate everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. Have a great day.